Hi everyone. So what we are going to do is we are going to add a fusion to the normal floral art which I do, like a single stroke floral painting. Okay, so normally what I used to create is something like this, a simple flowers or simple just petals or leaves sometimes only. But today we'll add a fusion to it, something like this. So for that, first we'll have to prepare our paper. So for that, the requirement is to have a masking tape. So I hope you all have masking tape, so you can start putting masking tape and you can cover the areas, like you can create some random shapes. And if you have a thick masking tape, you can use scissor and you can cut down, okay? And just one suggestion here, if you are using masking tape, don't start with like a full masking tape across the paper. Okay, it won't create good effect. It will always show like there is a straight line. So we don't want that thing. That's why I'm doing something like that. And one more tip for the masking tape, if you feel your masking tape is very strong and it could damage the paper, use a napkin. First, press your masking table 1 or 2 times there so that some glue is removed from it. So it is not that much strong now. And we can start placing it. And try not to create any regular patterns, like something anywhere if it looks just like here. What I did, instead of keeping them exactly parallel, I changed the angle of this one. So we want a regularity because we have to create something different. We don't want any symmetry here. So everyone done or anyone is lagging behind? Let me know. Okay, now we have to fill color. So depending upon the area on your paper, you can create more or less such a regular shapes. Now we'll have to fill different colors in this section. Two options to fill this area. First is we can use our gouache or acrylics, whatever you have. So in like we can use that color. Second option is we can use sketch pens or markers or something like, if you have any, because that will be much easy. Just you have to color it up. Otherwise, we can use, and you can use combination of colors just for the purpose. Don't try to put green color at this border. You can put a darker green or something, but don't just the green color that we will be using here for our flowers, like to create leaves. So don't use that one, and other colors you can use. So second option would be to use the gouache colors. So instead of using them very thick, we will dilute them a bit. And then we'll use. That's why I'm doing this first step before, so that if we use any other colors there, it will take time to dry. So we can leave it to dry first and then practice the second thing. Okay, oh, sorry, I wasn't trying. So then you can start filling the area. So if you are using the colors like this, you can use different colors and you can fill in the area. And try to use contrast color. Like if it is a green here, so don't use any other, sorry, yellow. So don't use any other yellow shade here nearby. You can use always the contrast color. Yes, we can also use watercolor, anything. I just said watercolor like not a watercolor, so that we will use gouache for flowers, so we can use same. Like if you dilute your gouache too much, it is same as watercolor, so you can use watercolor as well. Even kids can use their sketch pens. Normally they just do is like they scribble with their sketch pen, so we can, like, even if it will be a good practice, what you can do, you can create some paper like this, you can put some masking tape and you can ask kids to color, and later then just remove the masking tape and show them that, like, instead of scribbling, the scribbling can result into something very unique. Like that, later on you can use it for any background, like on top of that you can put any picture. So that is like how you progress, like how to fuse creativity into kids. Now here, if you say like I have used neon orange, so something different. Like we can always experiment with the colors here. And like we cannot use green here, but I will try to use green here. So once it is done, keep this aside, let it dry completely, and we'll practice our floral strokes. Okay, because most of you are new, so we have to practice leaf, how to make single stroke leaves and how to move forward. For that, we'll use a round brush. So I use this round brush size 4. You can use any round brush you have. You just need to learn how to control the brush. And let me show you the color mixing for that first. So we use, see, I used yellow, so I am able to mix my green here to create a lighter green. So this is the color consistency it should not be too thick and too thin. If it will be too thin, it will be runny like watercolor. So we do not want that thin. We want it bit, like if you put it like that, it should be there in the brush. It should not drop. And also when you can try like by rotating, and you should be able to see the fine tip of the brush. If it is very thick like this, then fine tip won't be there. It would be like a thick. Hmm. Even if you remove it, you will see that thing. What we want is a needle like this kind of. And for practice, you can use one color, but to paint, we'll use different greens to create a good effect. And also, like since now it's season, autumn season is there, so you can use autumn colors, but we don't see much autumn colors in India. So should I start with showing what the strokes are, how it looks like? So you can use any rough paper, even if you have rough papers, you can use those as well instead of like using a fresh paper. So the stroke is you put your brush very slow, press it completely, and start lifting it. Again, here don't think is with the same brush you can again create a new leaf. Again load this. Again start. So the key is low pressure, high pressure, low pressure. Always keep your brush, if you see here, it is perpendicular to the paper. Don't like a pen like this. No. Try to keep your brush like this. Put it slowly, put full pressure, and then start lifting. And you can turn directions, like where your leaf should go. Let me show it one more time. Low pressure, high pressure, low pressure, and lift. Okay. Now we will make a longer leaf. We do not want this small leaf everywhere. How to do that? The technique will be same, only high pressure stroke, the time for high pressure stroke will increase. Like for the duration, you will put your brush completely on the paper. So start, press, 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 and you can lift it. You can always correct, but what happens when you try to correct your petals or leaves, it would be like there would be lining because the color is not very thin like watercolor, it is bit of a consistency. So I would suggest not to do it, but in case you feel like, okay, this is not correct, in nature, leaves will be there in all the shapes. So it's up to you. If you feel like, okay, there has been a weird turn and I want to just smooth the curve and I want to change it, you can try to do it, but can just damage the aesthetic of your painting. Let me show you from this angle also. Like press here, go here and lift it like this. So that the second step is with high pressure and you spend a lot of time there so that you get a longer leaf. And for the next step, we will use something like this, like a round brush or a filbert brush. The difference in the round brush, which I used previously, is like this. Both are round, but this one has a pointed tip and this one don't have. Okay. Now moving to the second stroke. The second stroke is we want to just create a tiny flowers, vibrant flowers. So what we need to do, we don't need to create a 5 petal, 6 petal flower. We just want to create something like, let me show you. So this is my brush. What I will do, I have not loaded this brush completely with the color, only the front part, the start part. I'll start, I'll press and lift. Then second, I'll press and lift here. And since it is only on the color is only on the tip of the brush, we have to load it multiple times because we want that circular shape at the start. Otherwise, it will become flat. So we want something like this. So we'll create. See here. So if I have not loaded proper color in my brush, that became a flat. That is not rounded. So I have to again redo it. Okay. And then I'm going to use a liner brush. If you do not have liner brush, you can use your round brushes as well. Any brush you can use, and what we have to do is we have to create a stem. So if you want, you can create a single stem. You can create multiple stems in between like this. So it's up to you. So why I am drawing it opposite way, because it is visible. Because if I will draw like this, you won't see because my hand will come here. That's why I'm drawing it in this direction. My strokes are in this direction. So you can see like how I'm doing it. So this is the second thing we'll need today, this kind of strokes. Okay. So again, practice this stroke as well for 5 minutes and then we'll go back to the our painting and we'll start. Okay. Next is our this fusion shape must have dried. So we have to peel the masking tape from it. Okay. Now here you can use any tool, like you can even use toothpick to pick the tape and you can just remove it. And if you see once it is completely dried, the edges will be sharp. Otherwise, the edges won't be sharp. That's what the thing, the key is. That's why I said like we'll put it, the color, and then keep it aside to get it dry. See, the edges are sharp. And if you feel it is dry, it is not dried yet, wait again for some time. You can use your hair dryer to dry it like that. And if you feel there is some color like that is still wet, like droplets are there on the masking tape, you can use your hanky and just wipe off those droplets first. Okay, so done with this. Your this palette is ready. And just one more thing, I forgot. Just don't remove the first two masking tape, or if you removed it, you can press, put them again. There is no harm in that. You can even put a different masking tape there. Okay. Now let me show you this tapes also from the reverse direction so that you can see. Now next thing is I want to load two colors on my brush. So what I'll do, I do it like this. I load one color on my brush, and second color, instead of using a dilute color, I use very thick color. I just put my brush there and pull it off. And next step is just on the palette, work and get the two color combination and the pointed head. Okay. And then start putting the strokes there. And you can always use alternate color. Like here I have used yellow instead of the light green. Now next step, we want to create some flowers as well, like wildflowers. You can do either way. You can create a guiding stem at first, or you can create your flowers and then create stems. But I prefer to use, whenever I paint, prefer to use some guiding lines always. Those could be imaginary guiding lines, or you can create your guiding lines. Now we will create flowers, wildflowers kind of stuff. And here also, if the color is like not dried, and if you want a clear separation between two colors, wait and let it get dry. Otherwise, let me show you like what will happen is something like this. Like as you move down, you will ended up mixing two colors. And these are if colors who are just matching anywhere, like green and yellow, it will look good. But if it is red and blue, red and green. So sometimes it might ended up having a muddy color. So depend upon on the color wheel where the colors are and what their combination will lead to. So let me just also tell you this liner brush is very customized, or you can search any liner brush, but I have even removed the bristles from here. I have cut it down and I just created a very fine liner brush. It's like very fine. 6 to 10 hairs are there on it. So it's not you can play with brushes. You can buy the brushes from market and you can play like instead of going for expensive brushes. So this would be the effect if you are mixing, like the first layer is not dried and if you are using the second color, like a layer on top of that. So if you are fine and you are happy with this, well and good. If not, just wait for your colors to dry and then only go for the second layer. Okay, and now even if you want to add more details, it's up to you. Like you can use even one more complementary color and you can create a bit more texture. Like here, if I want, I can put one this, one this. Somewhere like we can play around and just try to create more textured things. But for this, please wait for first layer to dry. Okay. Post that, next step would be, so for that, I'm going to use some damaged brushes. You can use any other brush, like let me show you on a separate piece of paper first, like what it is. So what we want to create a background or like grass or something like that. For that, my brush should be creating something like this. So it should not have much color, but it should create something like this. So what you have to do, you have to do forward and backward draw. So I have showed it with the color, like whatever was loaded on this brush. Otherwise, what will other ways to use this kind of brushes, like a blender brush, or you can use any old brush and cut it down and create this kind of a brush like this. So any technique is fine. It's up to you which one you want to use, or you want to use them in a combination. Now comes the most tricky part of our painting today is to use black color for the background. Now it's very tricky. You have to use very least amount of black color and you have to be very careful not to spill it anywhere else. Also, clean the brush thoroughly after using the black color. So what I will do is I will start with a stroke to create a background here. Or you can use this kind of stroke also, because that black color you want is only just done. So it depends on the brush, which brush do you have. Okay. Step 2. On top of this black color, first use a darker green shade. Now, how will you use green shade? So load your brush and put it somewhere and then Just start creating the similar kind of strokes. Okay. Again, clean the brush properly before using the second lighter color, because what will happen on this brush, it will be a mix of green and black now. So we want to remove the black color completely. It can ruin the whole painting. So remove it properly, dry your brush again on a cotton paper or napkin or any cotton fabric. If you feel your this green shade is not there much, you can also again put some more. Correct. So now it's good. Now I will put even a more lighter shade of green. And also, if you do not want to do, you are scared on paper if you are ended up damaging. So you can first try it in your palette, then start here. Okay. So we are done with that also. If you want to add some more texture, you can create some more like dots of light green, dark green there like this. Or you can use your liner brush and create some grass like shape, some between like. So you can use any light green, dark green and create some strokes for the grass. So if you feel some places, if you want to eat something like, okay. And then finally wait for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You can use your hair dryer again and let it dry completely. Because here we use black color, so be very careful and make sure it is 100% dried before peeling off the masking tape. Any mistake and that black color will go down and your complete hard work would be all you have to rework on again and okay, my was completely dried and you see the clean lines. So this is what the work is. Okay, with that, we come to our end of this session. We have created a fusion floral art where with the regular flowers, we have added something new, something different as fusion background. You can call it background or you can say it effect because we have not added it on the complete paper. And you can experiment not only this kind of a background, you can search for fusion backgrounds and you can add different kind of backgrounds to your flowers. So I hope you learned something new today and please share your creations on Instagram, tag me, tag Flashpaint, and we'll be happy to see what you create. Thank you so much for joining. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye.